Hello and welcome back, everybody, to episode 150 of Coach Quip. I'm Coach Chris.
I'm Coach Robyn.
And today we're talking about...
Lessons?
Yes, lessons from the Olympic Games. The Olympics, how are you recovering from your Olympic fever?
I mean, I still have... If I look at my phone, right, because we're recording this before you all are, I think I have 7 alarms. I just set alarms.
That's so smart.
And that way, and Patty and I both have them going, yeah. So
what are we looking forward to today?
Relays, 10K, and I don't know the rest. I've just stopped putting the names in. I just had the alarms going. I know I looked at it yesterday.
That's amazing. So when you all are listening to this on Monday, the Olympic Games have just finished, and we're recording this in advance, so we don't know the results of the 10K or the marathon or the relays, but it has been a very exciting and wild 2 weeks.
I've scared the pugs more times than I care to actually admit. Yeah.
Yeah, and I've been traveling this whole time, so it's good because I don't have a TV at home, so I actually probably caught more Olympics than I would have had I been home. But I found myself just stopping and like staring at the TV in random spaces.
Yeah.
So like in the airport, I'm just posted up in the middle of the walkway watching the finale of water polo.
Yep. You get sucked in.
Yes. So as we were watching these Olympic Games, I think it's really the best, right? Like, it is the best.
You can't stop it, is what it is.
Yeah, and I think maybe everybody needs a little bit of a break now after these almost 3 weeks of binging. But, just the highest highs and the lowest lows. And I was watching, the part that made me think to do this episode was watching swimming. And I saw Caleb Dressel, who is an Olympic champion in the past, didn't make the finals of his event.
Yeah.
And there was this moment on TV where he was like just openly sobbing and crying on his coach's shoulders, and it just made me think like there's just so much
built in,
so much of everything, of the excitement, of the disappointment, of everything in between in the Olympics. So what lessons can we pull out from our favorite Olympic moments? And that's what we're going to be talking about today.
This is exciting.
Yeah. So, I mean, the first lesson, I think, like, let's just put it into the episode right away, is that Snoop Dogg is a national treasure.
I love it. I love that they call him the Olympic support dog, emotional support dog, D-O-double-G.
I did not see that.
Yeah. And I love all of it.
Yeah, my favorite Snoop Dogg moment, and I think there have been a lot of them, was I caught a clip of him and Martha Stewart wearing full equestrian outfits on Martha Stewart's 80th birthday or whatever it was, watching the horses. And I just thought that was, I mean, he's really committed to the bit.
He is. I was watching Primetime probably like 10 days in, and he was on, and I'm like doing the math. I'm like, it is 3 a.m. in Paris, and he is literally doing this interview live.
Wow.
So very committed.
Yeah.
I liked having the athletes look for him in the stands, almost like a lighthouse, right? And when they realized he was there, they would interact with him, and it was calming for them. And I think that's where like the emotional support dog probably came from. But what a cool way for athletes to center themselves and also still remain so authentic to the U.S. Like, it just, I love it.
Yeah, all of it was good. And then yesterday I saw a photo of Snoop and Martha Stewart. Also, just wow.
They're real friends.
They are real friends with Cookie Monster. And so, separate from the Snoop Dogg content, I'm loving the Sesame Street content as well.
Katie Ledecky was great on it too.
Love the way that they wrap in these cultural moments and icons from the United States into the athlete coverage. I think it's just a really cool mix.
All right, next up is one of my favorites, is that the draft horse effect is real, right? A rising tide truly lifts all boats, and we do know this, right? But to see it on such a grand stage just proves its point, that much more.
Yeah. So the one that I like of this was watching gymnastics. Team USA athlete Jordan Childs was about to retire a couple of years ago, and Simone Biles called her up and said, how about you come to Texas and train with me at my gym? And there she was this time, not only like loving her sport again, but also winning a gold medal. So, that sort of friendship and camaraderie that we see in all the different sports in the Olympics is really, really special.
I think, too, specific to Jordan, and you heard a lot of this, and you saw a lot of it, especially during the team finals, she is the hype person for the team, and I think, and it's very authentic. I think every team needs one of those. And thank God she was there, because she was, sort of that glue.
Yeah, and that's a great point too. I think like that. Everybody has a role to play, right, on a team, and when you have the best of the best athletes. So think about our basketball teams as an example. Like our women's basketball team has the all-stars of all-stars who are playing on this team, and individually they'd all be the top person, but together they have a role to play. So when you have like your team's all-star coming off the bench in a game, I think it takes a lot of killing of your ego to do that, to be a part of that team, to achieve something that's so much greater than what you would do on your own.
The ultimate draft horse.
The ultimate draft horse, absolutely.
Another example of this is in men's marathon, where we know that Clayton Young, for example, and Connor Vance both made it to Paris for Team USA. I know, seeing them work together was pretty awesome at the trials. Obviously, best friends and training partners. We saw it firsthand at trials how working together can level them both up. And just as a note, we're recording this before the marathon has happened, so we don't actually know how they did. But working together at the highest level nationally was just such a great example back in February of how working with others can get us to new levels as individuals, but when we're locked in.
And now they're both Olympians.
Now they're both Olympians. I cannot imagine being a marathoner. You wait the entire, I know that they're going, like up in the mountains to train, for the first 10 days or so, but like, I would so much rather go first.
Yeah.
Not that you have a choice.
You don't. You don't. But I'm hearing that it's going to be a very difficult marathon this year, so you should be excited to watch.
Hot.
Difficult course too.
I think. Okay.
Yeah.
Is it the same as the Paris marathon course?
I don't think it is.
Okay. I'm intrigued now.
You all will know.
You will know.
All right, next up is that visualization works. We just did an episode about this. I think it's 149. Maybe the last episode that we did. There is a great clip of another national treasure, pommel horse guy. So, do you know how to say his name?
No.
Yeah. Steven. Pommel horse guy.
Neurosick.
Yeah, nailed it. So there's this great clip of him backstage visualizing his routine. Did you see it?
Yeah. There are a lot of memes of this.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So standing up and, moving through space.
I know the one where he's sitting down.
Oh, okay.
He looks like he's sleeping, but he's visualizing without moving in that scenario. Okay. Yeah.
So those ones, and I saw plenty of clips of Simone Biles meditating or visualizing, several athletes doing that they caught on camera. But this one standing up was really, really interesting. So he was physically moving through his routine, but there was no pommel horse there. So he's just kind of wobbling like a penguin, but clearly that works. So there's a reason why we say, visualizing that routine can help you feel more confident and comfortable when that big moment comes. And we saw it all throughout the Olympic Games.
Yeah. I mean, he had the clutch position, right? He had to visualize before he did it because, by the time they get to you, your warm-up that's a wash.
Right. Yeah.
That's how to stay relevant.
Yeah. And so that's a great point, right? To apply that to our athletes. Like if you have time to warm up and then you have to be locked in your holding pen for 30 more minutes, this is something that maybe could help you as you are about to go off.
I do want more backstage access.
Yeah. It's really interesting, right?
But I want it not invasive. Like when we get our cameras all up in the faces, especially for track and field in that heat room, we need to give them their space. But I kind of want like a passive camera capturing all of it, not necessarily bothering them so that we can see because I think a lot of that visualization is happening there too.
Yep. Backroom Nest Cam, LA 2028.
Yeah. Tune in, 4 years. All right, next up is that, and we know this, but setbacks can be comebacks. And I think, I always remember when we first opened, I rattled it off once and it always kind of stuck with me of, when stuff happens, you have a choice of like either having a breakdown or a breakthrough. And it doesn't always get decided right away. The most glaring example of this is going to be Simone Biles, which we know quite well by now what happened 3 years ago. And, seeing her redemption story, I know her Netflix docu is going to be continued after the Olympics. I think there were only 2 episodes, and now they'll expand it past. But it gave a really great, it gave really great perspective into everything that happened, and then just how much time she actually took off, which was a lot, and then how long it took for her to get any type of rhythm back. You know, we know that when things are visibly wrong, when there's a visible injury, and she talks about this in the documentary too, like, it's very obvious and people are more understanding in a lot of ways, but when it's something that's invisible and it is something mental, it is you know, a little bit more criticized, and it's just not as glaring, so it requires some more explanation. And I would honestly, based on the timeline of her return, I actually think it takes longer than a physical injury to come back from. But obviously that comeback worked. And I am here. I am calling it now that I think she's going for Paris. Not that she needs to decide that now.
For LA.
But because she's never competed. She's done all of this and never had a home crowd.
So you think she'll be in LA?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. I think that poll is very, very strong. I also think LA has some pretty amazing things scheduled. And if you had the opportunity to go out, you know, in front of your home crowd, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
But let's see. No pressure, of course. Yeah. You do you.
Katie Ledecky too might come back, she said.
I agree.
I love that Simone Biles was like, I had therapy this morning before my competition. Like, you know, that's just like such a powerful thing, because I think it does demystify for the general population, but also all of those people who were in the news and, you know, writing blogs and opinion pieces about how weak it is to step back in this big moment. I think she just threw that right back in their face.
Yeah.
It's such a great example of you can't do great things if you're not taking care of yourself, and our mental health is super important. I think Michael Phelps really started that too, with talking openly about his mental health struggles, and so many athletes in the games have been much more open about the pressure, the stress, the anxiety that they're experiencing. And if we listen to those stories, we can pull out some nuggets of how we can also help ourselves.
Another example of these setbacks, obviously, along with gymnastics, is Suni Lee. I mean, multiple kidney diseases, like full-on shutdown. I think they said at one point she had gained like 30 to 40 pounds. I mean, a lot of it was just fluids, right? And not able to complete really anything, and obviously addressed that and got things much more sorted, but then had kind of a similar ramp to Simone Biles of, you know, needing to get their legs underneath them again. And that was obviously just very, very, very brave of her to go for it, and it clearly worked.
All right, next up is believe in yourself and be yourself. So I love this one. 100-meter gold medalist Noah Lyles made a post after he won the gold that talked about all of the ways that he could have been held back. So the post, I'm just going to read it. The post says, I have asthma, allergies, dyslexia, ADD, anxiety, and depression. But I will tell you that what you have does not define you, what you can become. Why not you? You know, I think when it's on, when we're watching an elite performance like this, we forget that these are real people, because what they're doing is unreal.
Yeah,
right?
It's true.
So to put it in that framing of, I have all of these things that could have been an excuse, that could have been something that held me back, and here I am with a gold medal, so why not you? I think that's just such a powerful statement.
This is also in Believe in Yourself, but his quote after the 200, I was really hoping, I know with live coverage a lot of times they don't have time, especially on track and field because it's so back-to-back, to interview them. But when they interviewed, and he obviously at that point had, you know, gotten medical help because he, now we know, has COVID and all of these things. The grace with which he accepted the bronze medal, you know, and he said, 3 years ago, I was mad about this. I could not be more proud.
Yeah.
Especially for someone of his caliber, to not have a level of entitlement to that being a gold medal performance, and for him to immediately pivot and just be so genuinely excited about a third place finish, which should have been a first place finish, right? Given everything that we know. It was just so, it was so cool, and also just so mindful. I was very, very impressed. And it was probably 10 minutes after the heat concluded. after the finals concluded.
Yeah.
If you have not watched that interview, go find it, because it's short, but it is exactly how all of us athletes should think about when we don't get what we think we should have got and how we should react.
Oh, well, so many examples of that. Nothing is guaranteed, right? Like the Caleb Dressel moment of being like, okay, you were an Olympic champion, and here you are not going to the finals in your main event. So nothing is guaranteed.
All right, the other one, of course, is Steven Nedorosik. We're gonna figure it out someday, guys. There was a really fantastic. Side note, I love people that are authentically themselves. It's why I love you. It's why, if you embrace who you truly are, I just give you so much credit, and I think it's so refreshing. And that is really why I think everyone loves Steven so much, right? Because he is a pommel horse guy, and he is a nerd, and he is, the one that, supports the team and gets them water. I was like, who is this guy? He's a water boy? And then I saw him compete. I'm like, oh, wait a second. It's all clicking, right? There's another really great interview that he did probably like 2 days after. It's on a lot of NBC feeds. And they're asking him, like, why do you, what's your message? And he's like, listen, I was never going to be an all-around guy. I love the pommel horse. I'm a nerd. I love being me. I knew I could get really, really great at this thing, and I did. And I want to be an example for anyone else that sees themselves, maybe not as a typical athlete, and they are nerdy, and they do want to chase something that is intriguing to them. I want them to know that I am you. And it was it was so refreshing. And then at the end, you could probably find it by searching like Rubik's Cube fail or something, because the commentator gave him a Rubik's Cube to solve, and he messed up the algorithm, because he was like trying to talk, and he was just so funny. He's like, don't film it. It was just, the whole thing, again, it's like 2 minutes, but it is such a great example of just embracing who you are and doing that and helping everyone else around you be the version of you that you didn't have growing up, right? Or that you know that you could have used. And it's great. I love it.
Yeah, he's fantastic. He also gave a great pep talk to Elmo via Twitter or Threads. Elmo reached out to him. Like, here's my feed is literally it's sports
and Sesame
Street during the Olympics especially. Elmo wanted to be a specialist, and he gave Elmo a really nice pep talk about how you can specialize in whatever you want, and that's the cool thing about it, is that you get to decide. I just thought that exchange also kind of encapsulates who he is, right? Like, it's boosting other people up, it's getting the water for your teammates, even though you're not the water boy, right? Like, it's just such a cool person. And I think, the other person that I think of for here is Nikki Hiltz.
Yeah.
So Nikki Hiltz, in coming out and being a trans and non-binary runner in the 1500, we saw that in those trials, everybody broke 4 minutes, which was incredible. And again, rising tide lifts all boats, but like that energy of being so fully embodied in yourself, like, I think they're just having the performance of their life right now.
Well, and that really happened after they came out,
yes,
right?
Yes.
Like, that was the first step in that many steps of success.
Yeah, so we'll see how that one.
That's today. That's one of my alarms.
That's one of your alarms, okay. So fill in the blanks for yourself after that.
All right, last but definitely not least, probably top of the list, is that moms are amazing.
So amazing.
Women have closed this Olympics. I'm just going to say it. I can't wait for like the full breakdown. First off, it is the first time that we've had an equally representative team, right, of equal men and women. But specifically moms stepping up, showing that it can be done, albeit I'm sure differently than what you did it before. But that is just one of the highlights, and I just want it to become more of the norm and not the exception. And that's really what these women are doing, right? First up is the Egyptian fencer Nada Hafez. She competed while 7 months pregnant. And did well. Like, wild. Yeah, well.
Yeah, baby's first Olympics.
Yeah, you get a onesie ready.
We also had the archer, Yalago Ramazanova. She was 6.5 months pregnant, and there's such a great image of her with her bow drawn. And she said that she felt her baby kick, and then she shot a perfect 10. How cool is that?
Level up.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Hurley Adriana Sulek-Schubert from Poland, she gave birth to her first child in February, and then just 5 months later, is competing in Paris. Not that everybody should be on that timeline. That's absolutely not true, but that just proves they strong. She's strong. They strong AF.
Oh.
I am not worthy.
Just wild. Check out our Strong Moms podcast. That was episode 138 for more information about how awesome moms are. But yeah, I think, just incredible. You said women closed this Olympics. I think they opened it, they held it down in the middle, they closed it. It was just so exciting to have the gender parity there, but also to just watch that, just so many incredible accomplishments and individual accomplishments and achievements. But I think just in this moment of the rise of women's sports in the public eye is just such a cool cherry on top right now.
I just want to go and hang out with Snoop Dogg now.
Or Flavor Flav.
I know. He's
Also
everywhere
great.
Too. His water polo stuff killed me.
Fantastic. Well, while you all recover from your Olympic hangover, you can be sad that it's over, but also be happy that you have a little short break, because the Paralympic Games start August 28th and run through September 8th with about 4,400 athletes from competing in 22 sports. So more Olympic content coming your way. Definitely check that out, because I think this is like one of the most underrated sporting events that is just absolutely incredible. So hopefully there's enough TV coverage of it. We've been seeing more and more, but Paralympic Games coming up, so get ready.
Maybe we'll do another episode on that.
We might have to. All right, tag us in your Olympic content and your favorite Snoop Dogg posts, and we will see you next time.
Later.
Thanks for listening to Coach Quip, original music performed by Ment. Follow us online on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Edge Athlete Lounge. Our podcast lives in the blog section of our website. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review this podcast, and you can check out the show notes for additional ways to contact us. Ready, set, onward we go.